Well, welcome to our sometimes weekly webinar. This is Patrick Halls. I'm the Chief Project Manager here at Qdabra, where we are celebrating 17 years in business. And I'm also happy to welcome part of our team today. We are doing, we like to do these webinars, I say sometimes, because we like to do them weekly if we can, but sometimes we get carried away with new techniques and tricks, and we end up spending more time building these unique solutions out and instead of just repurposing old webinars. So we end up spending a lot of time doing that. And today I'm really happy to have Joanne and Yesha and Dawn here to help with the, they've been actually doing all the work behind the scenes for the webinar. So before we get started, I just have a couple quick questions for you. We just have two polls here. They're just very simple questions to get us in the mind frame, in the frame of mind of this webinar. So how many SharePoint Designer workflows do you have? Hopefully you're thinking about moving off of it because it is end of life coming soon. And it looks like a lot of you have a lot of workflows left there. So thanks. About almost a third of you in the 1 to 10, 11 to 40, and 41, almost evenly distributed there. And there's nobody at 0. So that's kind of bad, I guess. How many Power Automates? So how many of you have looked into Power Automate flows? And this is SharePoint Online, of course. I think they have Power Automate for some of the hybrid scenarios, if you've got an on-prem hybrid. So it looks like nobody has over 41, but we're kind of evenly distributed again with about a third of you at 0 and 110 and 11 to 42. So thanks for voting. So we're talking today about centralizing workflows, and the main reason for that is to reduce the amount of work that you'd have to do. Instead of creating a separate SharePoint Designer workflow for every library or a separate central, what do we call it, separate Power Automate flow for each one of your processes, we want to show you a technique where we centralize them. And this technique means you have everything running off of one list, but it's data driven, so you can have different things running off of that list. So this solution also contains a bunch of UI elements, and I will warn you up front that we are featuring Qdabra forms, just like SharePoint Designer workflows. If you remember, they used InfoPath. We use Qdabra forms, which is essentially our version of the future of InfoPath. It's InfoPath Designer is no longer used. We ship Forms Designer, and we're continuing to improve it. But we have this solution that we're using to build forms. And so we're going to show you those today. But in order to build this data-driven solution, you need some way to describe the workflow states, right? The states, the actions, and we're using forms for that. So when I say Qdabra forms, it doesn't mean you have to have InfoPath or anything like that, because obviously you don't anymore. But it does mean that you will need, this Qdabra forms app. So just want to say that up front. So the benefit here is it's consistent UI. Dashboard, the ability to edit the workflows without actually going into a bunch of macro language or code. We're going to show two demos today. We're going to show the serial version, and then we're going to show the parallel version. And we'll talk a little bit about how to scale the solution using Windows Azure and SQL as a storage place. So first, before the demos, just quickly, the benefit here is that not just about centralizing everything and reducing your maintenance steps, but it's also about adding an approval process to forms that don't have one in just a few minutes, and having a consistent UI among all of your processes so they see the same task pane for each flow or each process. And then we support things like external login for users that need to get access to forms, but they don't have a login, like a Windows login. So we have a cell phone-based authentication mechanism that will show. Actually, I don't know if we're going to show that today, but that's one of the benefits we have. One of the key benefits of the solution is the dashboard, and you'll see that in the demo that Yesha does. And then we're going to show you the workflow step editor, the config form as well. So without further ado, I think let's just jump in and do the serial workflow demo. Yesha, if you're ready. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yay. You're on.
Okay. So let me try and share my screen here. And tell me if you can see it now.
Yep.
All right, that sounds great. Thank you. So, what you are currently seeing here is our central flow solution for the sequential process. And this is the user interface. And the structure here is at the right side, you will see a task pane that shows you the current status of your form and what are the actions that you can do. You can save and submit, which I will discuss later on. We have here a history slider. Again, I will show you later. And if we go and click this admin icon here, included in this central flow solution is our configuration form. And in this configuration form, this is where you can set up your workflow steps. And what are those workflow steps? So I've already set up here for our sample expense report form. And the default status when you're opening a new form is always new. And from there, you can add multiple action buttons. As you can see, I have a save and submit, which I added earlier. And if we go back to our expense report form, that's what I'm currently seeing in that new status. That is the current status for our form. And then if the status is submitted, let's say the user or I has submitted the form, the status will become submitted and the action buttons for the next assignee that will be opening the form, what they will see in the task pane is the approve and reject button. So this is where you can design the approval process depending on what is needed uh, for your forms. And here we actually also have an assignee column. So this is where you can indicate who will be receiving an email notification, and here at the right side, you can see an email icon. And this is where you can customize the email notification that will then be received by the assignee that you just indicated in the assignee column. So we have here an email subject, email greeting, the body that you want to be included, the hyperlink text. So this is actually a form link wherein I will show later on, but when they will be able to click this and it will direct you to the form so that you can approve or reject or depending on the next status that will be happening to your process. So that's for the configuration form. Once you've set that up, um, you can then go ahead and do the process. So let's go and try that. And for our expense report, I'm just going to say we had a client meeting here and I want to request uh, an expense report and this will be needing an approval. So let's add a date here and I'm just going to say lunch. We had lunch and I'm just going to say Italiani's, an Italian restaurant. And I'm just going to say $200 there. Gonna add one more
That's a very
category.
expensive lunch. I don't know if we're going to be able to approve that.
Yeah, but just a sample for now. Description, let's just say hotel and stay Belmont and just another $200 just for a sample tonight today. So once you've added details there, let's go ahead and request this expense report. So I'm going to say submitted for approval and click submit. So what's happening in the background for this is that it is submitting to our central flows tasks list. And that tasks list, if there is a data that has been created or modified in that list, which I can show you here, it will then trigger our Power Automate flow. And that Power Automate flow is where the email notification happens. So as you can see here, this is actually the one that I submitted for approval, and the email notifications details, and so on and so forth. So let me go ahead and check my email. So let's just wait a while for me to receive the email. And
Yes,
again,
quick
since
question
I
for
am,
you.
sorry,
Quick question for you.
yeah,
How does the Power Automate know which flow? Because you've got multiple form types. How does the Power Automate know in the list there which form it is running
Mhm.
on. Oh, I see. It's right there.
Yeah,
Form type, right in front of my face. So it's
that's a
using.
great question. So in the Power Automate, you can indicate there the list um, that you want for that flow to check. So I indicated in that Power Automate flow that you should check this central flows task list. And if, again, if a data has been created or modified, then you will be sending an email notification, which will be, we are currently waiting
Can you
right
show us
now.
the Power
And I
Automate?
will,
Can you go show the Power Automate for that list? I know this is kind of running
yes,
off script,
so,
but I just thought it'd be kind of interesting to take a look at that.
okay. So I have here the link. And if we open that, this is the Power Automate flow. And as you can see, when an item is created or modified, then it will send an email. It's just a simple, very basic flow for this central flow solution. So as you can see, I added here the site address for that list and the list name that it will be needing to check. And if you see here the send email, since we do have the data for those email subjects, email greetings, email closings that we just indicated in our configuration, those are the variables that I added in this send email flow here. And as you can see, I added assign to email body details and so on and so forth. And that's just how simple the Power Automate is for the central flow solution. And just, again, it takes a while for me to receive an email notification. Um, so let me Okay, here we go. I have a notify. So you can see here, hello, an expense report has been submitted and assigned to you for approval. So it's sent to me because I am, again, the person that was indicated in the assigned to. So when the approver opens that link that is indicated in the email, it will then again open the form. And as you can see, it says submitted and it states here the details, which is not editable. I just used a hide and show logic behind there. So let's go ahead and approve this. So I'm just going to say approved by manager.
Before you do that, Isha, can you
Mhm.
show the dashboard?
Sure. Okay. So
I just think it'd be
also
nice
included.
to show them the dashboard before and after you approve
Mhm.
it, because the form's going to go away, right? If it's not assigned to them anymore, right? Or maybe it's assigned to you.
My forms. Sorry, it's going to be showing to both my forms and my assignment because I'm the requester and also the assignee. So
I think
for the
what Patrick
scenario.
meant, excuse me, I think what Patrick meant was the config form for the workflows.
No, well, don't worry about what I meant, Don.
Oh,
Or
okay,
Isha,
sorry
just
about
keep
it.
going. I'm sorry to interrupt again.
Okay, it's fine. All right. So, one cool thing about the Central Flow solution is you also get a dashboard, and in this dashboard, you will see three tabs, basic tabs, and you can actually understand it once you see the dashboard. So the My Forms are the ones that you submitted or you requested. And one thing to mention also, these are segregated into different form types. So if you have a lot of forms that are using Central Flow solution, it will be segregated or divided into those form types. So as you can see, I have your Central Flows testing that I used last week or earlier this week, and then the expense report form. And in my assignments tabs, these are the forms that uh, are currently assigned to you. So again, if a form is assigned to you, you can check it here in my assignments tab. And in the show all, this will show you all of the forms that have been submitted or requested and the current status and so on and so forth. So going back to the expense report form, let's go ahead and try and approve this. And in my configuration, which I showed earlier, the process that I added was after the approving manager has approved uh, the expense report, it will then be needed to be approved by an accounting manager, which again is me for this demo. All right. So if we go ahead and refresh this dashboard, as you can see, it automatically updated the status of that current form so that you will know the current status that you requested, or the assignments that you have, the current status of the assignments that you have.
And the dashboard
And
refreshes automatically, right?
yeah, so every 5 minutes,
Okay,
I think, a few minutes, it always refreshes so
a
that
nice feature.
it is updated.
Yeah.
So again, I received an email for the payment approval. And again, this will go on with the process depending on the configuration that you added in the configuration form. And since, sorry, Patrick, go ahead.
Well, I want to be careful at the time, but yeah, are we just about done with this? We can switch back to the slides real quick.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right.
Are you ready? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll switch back then. Great. So that's the first demo, and we're going to switch back to Yesha in just a minute here. But before we do that, I want to make myself presenter. And actually, I think, Yesha, that we're going to make you presenter very quickly. So I just wanted to show that we've got these two kinds of workflows. 95% of the workflows out there that people have for their form libraries or their processes are sequential. It's typical back and forth approval stuff where you've got one person at each step who needs to approve it or reject it or whatever. Now we do see more complex workflows. So there's about 5% really complex workflows out there, including some that are parallel. Now, what we mean by parallel is we mean that in the sequential state or the serial state, only one person can open the form at any given time. So if they open it up at step B or state B, I guess step or state, either one, then nobody else can open it up. They've got it locked, and we actually have locking functionality built into the task pane, so it'll show locked if somebody else tries to open it. Um, but in the parallel case, you've actually got multiple people that you want to simultaneously do something. It could be a task, it could be a vote. So this is a very different pattern, and these two patterns together can create some very complex workflows. So I just want to do a little preview there in terms of what we're going to be seeing next. Yesha, I'll make you presenter. Parallel.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So sharing my screen again. Tell me if you can see it now.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So right now, we are going to demo the parallel central flow solution, and we have here a policy request. It still has the same structure, the task pane and the config form button there, but let's go ahead and say, and request a policy and state here work from home policy. And the description I actually have here ready, and we can add here the approvers for that policy details. So let me go ahead and add myself as an approver and add Joanne here and add one more for Dawn. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly submit this. So what happens in the background again is this is going to an email will be sent out to those approvers that we just mentioned here in the approvers repeating section here, and they will be receiving an email that, hey, a policy request has been requested by this person. Please click this form so that you can approve or reject the policy and check the details of it. And if I go to my email and wait for a few seconds, it's actually a lot faster than Power Automate. So here is the request for me since I added myself as an approver. And if I open this, this is actually opening the task form. And in this task form, what I will be seeing is only the details. So it's not editable. Only I can only see the details, the title, that the description that was added in the policy request, and I can go ahead and approve or reject this policy. So let me go ahead and say approve by Yesha here. And what happens is we want to notify the requester that, hey, a voter has approved or rejected that policy request that you just submitted. So since I'm also the requester, I will be receiving the email. Here we go. And it actually states, that, hello, Yasha Alfafari, the approver, has voted and approved the policy work from home. And when I click that form, and since I'm the requester, I'm going back to the parent form, and I can actually see here the vote status that happened. So Yesha has already voted approved, and Joanne and Dawn has not yet. And since we are still waiting for those votes, the current status is still pending. So what I'm going to do right now is let's ask uh, Dawn to reject his. Can you reject um, the
Okay.
the
Just give
email?
me a minute.
All right, and then let's wait for that to happen for a while. Okay, so I actually received multiple emails because I CC'd myself to all of the emails. So I actually received Dawn's and Joanne's email, so I can see it here. And here we go. Since I'm the requester, I just received an email from Dawn that he has rejected the policy. And if we refresh this, the vote status has become rejected by Dawn. And can we ask Joanne to now approve the policy detail? Hi, Joanne.
Okay, let me approve it.
Thank you. So,
So Don, you want to work in the office, and Joanne, you want to work at home. Is that the deal?
Okay, it's now approved.
all right. Thank you, Joanne. So let's just wait a little while since I'm the requester. I should be receiving an email. All right. So Joanne has voted approved for the work from home policy. And let's go ahead and open that link and wait just a couple of seconds here. And there we go. So we can see Yasha and Joanne has approved the vote. Dawn has rejected the work from home policy, and now it's not pending because we have more approved votes than rejected. So the status of this has become approved. So that's the power of the parallel solution. You can send it out to multiple approvers, and they can simultaneously approve or reject uh, the request that you submitted.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
And you can use that for like voting, but also for things like interview loops and any time when you have a process that you want
Hmm.
to parallelize. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's
Great job.
correct.
Wonderful demo. Okay, so I'm just going to switch back to our slide. We're out of time, so we're going to quickly wrap up here. But I just want to quickly summarize what you saw there from Yesha. Great job, Yesha. So we're trying to do a bunch of things here in this solution. So we're consultants. We build solutions to help you, our customers, make things happen faster in your organization, and to also allow you to see what's going on and measure it. So we build these accelerators and these tools and so on to help you use the power of the underlying platform better. And we're building this tool on top of SharePoint because we think that it's a great opportunity to simplify a bunch of maintenance tasks. Instead of having 40 or 50 or 100 different flows or workflows, you can just have one. And it also kind of puts the guardrails on people from creating crazy stuff, because you don't want people just going crazy in flow and creating workflows that you can't maintain down the road. So this kind of does limit it a bit, and it makes it easier to maintain because you just got that one location. Now, what Yesha showed in the parallel one was we have this solution that works both in SharePoint and outside of SharePoint. In fact, I want to talk briefly about that. We have a question that we'll get to in a second, but um, the the solution, there's two different solutions here. There's the SharePoint Online and on-prem solution. where we use Power Automate, and then there's of course the version that doesn't use SharePoint. And so we have two different versions. We've got a lot of pieces to them, so they all use decentralized lists or tables if you're in SQL. We have an app that you install for Qdabra Forms that is the same in both. But in the first version, you're using Power Automate flows, and in the on-prem, actually this should be on-prem or DBXL version, you're using the actual form template and reminders within DBXL. So DBXL is an accelerator that we have provided for 15 years now, and it helps you connect your data to the database. Anyway, so those are the pieces in the solution. The solution is free, but you have to have Qdabra Forms. The Qdabra Forms app is free for the first 3 months, and then it's literally anywhere from $90 to $500 a month per tenant. So it's solution wide or site wide, where the top end of that is unlimited. So we have some usage based pricing for SharePoint Online. For on-prem, it's just fixed. And we provide these solutions, these accelerators, to try to engage customers, help them with their build out new solutions, but also because it reduces the cost of the solutions that we do build for you. So the main thing with Qdabra Forms is that it is used just like SharePoint Designer used to use InfoPath, but it's different. It is actually, even though it is compatible with InfoPath, it's completely different. It comes with a Designer now, with a lot of new features, including the sliding task pane that you saw, the hover over effects, all kinds of great stuff you can do with CSS, which you can't do with Power Apps. But it is, so you do need this, and that's the one pitch here, and that's why the solution is free. So let's just take a quick question here from the audience. Will it work with on-prem SharePoint? Yes, it will. So the idea behind the multiple solutions here, if I go back, is to have one version that works with SharePoint Online, and another version that works with SharePoint On-Prem. And then you can also use SharePoint On-Prem with or without DBXL. So this slide here needs to be edited, but it really should be this one here. And then this one, actually, you can use SharePoint On-Prem without DBXL. So this is kind of valid, I guess. So I guess I was correct the first time. But then you've got the non-SharePoint or SharePoint version that uses Qdabra DBXL instead of Power Automate. So if you're using on-prem, you're not going to have Power Automate, so you're going to have to use this. So I guess I am right. This needs to be SharePoint on-prem / no SharePoint, something like that. Great question, though. Any other questions for us today? I want to thank you all for joining us on this Thursday. I hope your day's going great. We have a short survey, 4 questions at the end. If you answer the survey, we're going to send out the whole solution kit to you with documentation, and we look forward to hearing from you, and look forward to doing a webinar again next week, hopefully. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for being here.